Hi, I'm Tony, near Pop Pop's Workshop. Today, some of you may have follow my Instagram account, and I bought recently this Triton TSP ST450. It's a spindle and belt sander combo, and I decided on the Triton because I reviewed the Harbor Freight, the Bauer model, the Triton, and the Home Depot, the rigid line. The Both the older rigid and the newer one that Delta makes for rigid. So I thought I'd just give you my reasons why and look at a couple of the features on this model. First off, the Home Depot nearest one to me is in a town about an hour away. So when you figure in my time and the gas money, the current prices, right? And the fact that it was about $40 or $50 more than the Triton, that just kind of put the rigid out. Plus, I'm a little bit hesitant because rigid's kind of done some things with their warranty. It's changed, so it just doesn't give me a lot of faith in the line. I'm not saying it's a bad line. I'm just saying, me personally, when companies do that, I just kind of wonder, what's going on. So with those factors, the rigid just seemed to be out. So I left it between the Harbor Freight, the Bauer model, and the Triton, which is at my local Woodcraft. I have nothing against Harbor Freight. In fact, it was about $30 cheaper than the Triton. But I kind of looked at it, and I have some Harbor Freight tools. Some of you may have seen I've got some pipe clamps or bar clamps and things from Harbor Freight. They do great. But when I factored in the Woodcraft is a locally owned franchise by Eric Davis. Eric's a great guy. I've done some videos at the Woodcraft. They're always knowledgeable. If you've got a problem, they're there to help. So Woodcraft is always kind of my go-to if I'm looking for woodworking supplies or machinery. If I can afford it, I'll do that. So I say extra $30 for me. That kind of made the Triton a no-brainer. Plus, I consume YouTube woodworking. It's almost an obsession. I really like watching the videos from the different ones, just to name a few, like April Wilkerson, Matt Cremona, Katz Moses, Stumpy Nubs, James Hamilton. The list goes on and on. John Malecki, fellow Woodcraft guy. So it's those people I kind of watch, and I kind of just like stare in the background of their shop. Sometimes I'm not paying attention to what they're doing. I'm looking at the tools and drooling. So as I look through those, I notice quite a few of them have Triton tools. What I also enjoy is that they're not shilling them to me. They're not trying to convince me I need to buy them because they're getting something from it. So the fact that they just used them in the videos and didn't make a big deal out of it. And then I researched the tool line, and it seemed to be a solid tool line with a good reputation. So that just made the decision for me. I chose the Triton. So it's kind of nice. It's got that, like I said, that extra feature where you can just take the belt sander attachment, slap it on there. In the back is where it's stored. Let's see if I can turn this around a little bit better. There we go. And so just kind of slap it in there, and it just sits in there like that. Then you can store pretty much everything on board. Now, what I'll probably end up doing at some point is building one of those nice flip carts. So many people have those. So I can put my planer on one side and then this on the other. So I got, limited shop space. I want to make the most of it. But when I do that, the onboard storage for a lot of these things, as long as this is sitting flat and upright, no problem. They'll stay right where they're at. But of course, when you go flipping things, that's going to be a different story. So I'll have to build some kind of drawer or something for that. But otherwise, in the meantime, the onboard storage works great, and it's very handy. And I do make sometimes larger cutting boards, probably about 20 by 20 and about 2 inches thick, 1.5 inches. And those can be pretty heavy if you're not going to leave them in place and you want to move them. So I like to cut a bevel on a 45 bevel on two sides. It's just kind of a quick handle grab. It's easier for me than trying to route handles in the side. Someday when I get around to making more templates, when I have the time, it might be easier then. But in the meantime, that's a quick and easy solution. So one of the best things about this is that just by loosening these two knobs, and you got to turn them in different directions. I've made that mistake. I was trying to turn them the same direction. It was not working. So turn them in different directions. And there's a little tab. You probably can't see it. It sits under this side. There'll be as you're looking at the right side of the machine. You push that tab down, and you've got positive stops at 15, 22 and a half, 30, and finally 45. Then you can just lock your handles back in, and you've got a nice 45-degree surface for me to sand flat those bevels. Instead of having to hand sand them as much, I can just use that, sand flat those bevels, and be good to go. Then just depress your lever, throw her back, and throw your spindles. Confusing, opposite directions. So, and as far as flat goes, now you'll have to forgive me, I don't have any feeler gauges, so I've dropped this to 45. I've brought it back, and that was flat that way. It could be off a thousandth of an inch, but I'm not machining anything in the shop. It's just wood. It's going to move, so that's not a big deal. So flatten those directions, and both the tables side to side and front to back are flat according to my Empire framing square. So that's kind of it, guys. I'm looking forward to breaking this in over the next few weeks, and then coming back and giving you another video on my thoughts of how well did it hold up. Now, if any of you out there have the Harbor Freight or the Rigid and know anything about any of those machines, and you want to tell me the pros and cons of those in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it, and I thank you. And I also thank you for watching the video. I try not to take for granted that you're doing that. I know your time is valuable, and you might not have the time that I do to consume as much YouTube woodworking, but if you do, hopefully you watch this and you enjoyed it. But as always, remember, you can do this.